Yeah, well, Prof here, back a little bit later than expected. There is no written guide as far as I can tell for this. If you guys can find a PDF, I didn't find anything in the box. Normally there would just be like some basic step-by-step shit. They, of course, made the bane of my existence a video. All I want is picture. Put screw here, here, here. Circle them. Then put this. Boom, boom, boom. Like, come on. It's almost as if I've made guides for the community as a whole in the past, and literally make guides for my job as half my living. I feel like lately. This little shit too. You can see the pile of wood over there. She was climbing that, so that's why we were delayed. I thought she was gonna kill herself. Also out of the Topo Chico, and I gotta slum it with the San Pellegrino in the plastic bottle. If you hear anything, that's me playing the video. As a reminder, we're building the Agar specifically the EC edition, which is for electrocapacitive. By the way, this is too light to be aluminum. I know I said it looks like aluminum because it very much does. Could be sandblasted, bead blasted, copper. It's just, could also be, there are different types of copper, like different chemical makeups, how much of each thing that goes into copper. But these bad boys, these Naevies EC, those are individual EC switches, much like this little Cherry MX guy there. And we'll be building this Agar EC here in this amber casing. And being that there is not a like they call this the Agar EC version build guide, but so far it is 4 minutes long, and 40 seconds in, they've just unboxed the damn thing to show the different pieces that are in there. And they're like, oh, look at the plate, look at the thing, it's already in there. And I'm like, but how'd you get there? Tell me your secrets. Does look like they start with the PCB and putting stabilizers in, which makes sense since they're PCB mount stabilizers. For those that watched the previous video, I gotta take this sweatshirt off. I'm getting warm. I watched the previous. Jesus, kitten, you're flying around like a crazy animal. What was I even talking about? I don't even know anymore. What do any of us talk about anymore, I'm gonna start with not this guy. My little silicone rubber mat. These are actually dish drying mats. OXO. You can get them at Target. Alright, so they start with. Okay, so we do get in here, there's all these little like stoppers and holy fuck! Yeah, you're breaking shit. Out of here. You're literally breaking shit. Yeah, you're naughty. Told you guys she's acting crazy. She just tried jumping on the back of a bookshelf and pulled a bunch of shit down. Alright, so these are the stabilizers it comes with in here. Here's some screw guys. These might be screw-in stabilizers as well. But they're not the hook style. So we're going to keep these. These just, it basically looks like stabs. We'll keep these for something else. You know, they do look to be screw-in. But, they're not that newer hook style. So I will give those they weren't that much extra. I think they were as low as 80 cents extra, in fact. Which is basically nothing. Rubber screw heads of some kind. They got like a plus sign on them, like they're for a Phillips head screw. And we got the foams. Foamy guys. Foamizios. Where's our USB port? Is that... I don't see that in here. No USB port in here. It's just cheap screwdrivers. That's just a plate and that package with the... Oh, it must be packaged with the PCB. This you do actually want to be a little bit careful about because this is the inside of electronics. I'm not saying ideally I would be building this on my anti-static mat, but at a minimum, ground yourself, tap yourself on like your computer case, which will be grounded or something, just to dissipate your. Like I'm gonna kick my slippers off too, just because they're definitely a material that could have issues. So this is our little USB with this like squirrely not spindly, but like it's like a cable made out of a PCB sort of. Paisley? Here you can see the little squares, octagons for the top ray pads. These guys. These are the linear ones. We're not going to be swapping those. But, there you go, check on the kitten. Oh my god. What have you done, kitten? Oh my god. Yeah, you're a little stinker. Yeah, guys. Yeah. So they're saying do the. So this has 3 pads. If you can see that there, we want split backspace. We want split shift. So we only need enter space bar. And it looks like left shift as well, even though it's a. Well, I don't do right shift, which is the short shift. So we got our screw-in stabilizers. So we gotta figure out how to assemble these damn things. What do you mean? They're probably like, well, what do you mean how to assemble them? What I mean, I need a freaking pliers to get them out of there. Do I have a smooth pliers? Yes. This is why we would normally do this over on the desk with all the things. Oh no, so my pliers have stuff. Okay, when grabbing stuff like this, you don't want teeth. Often I want teeth to grip. In this case, we're just using it to pull it out there carefully. You know, like boop. See, just like that. And then this guy goes in there like a so. And I'm still failing to see how this guy gets in there. Like it's very clear it snaps in here like that, right? Ooh. Do I have this? Maybe I have this already. You gotta hook it around. Yeah, I think I got the stabbing backwards? No, there ain't no way. Round and round and round it goes. Round and round. Nobody knows. That seems pretty locked in there, which is not what seems to be intended. Oh, jeez. Doesn't want to pivot at all. Oh, there we go. We got it. It was just locked up. There you go. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. I can show you now that. So they are sided. So you can see they have a notch that's directional. And this hooky dude. Oh, that's the wrong side. Are these all the same? I thought since they're right in line, they would give you like a set of them out of the gate. But they don't. There you go. So you need two opposite sides. Then okay, so they actually have all the right sides on the right, all the left sides on the left. Sure. Whatever works. So you want the open side to the left or to the right, depending, because there's a slot in here. If you see right there, that they're actually going to wrap a... Not clumsy like my ass. That the hook is actually going to wrap around into. So, for example, I'm going to line this up. This is going to go through the hole, through the slot. See right there, you can kind of see it already working. But we're going to snap it in to there. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. So I'm just going to assemble 2 more of those right away. We need basically one side of each. And we're actually going to even need one more for the keyboard. Not going to be using all of these though. Actually don't know. Wow, that's some shitty soldering. I didn't clean up. They soldered that pad that it looks like magnetic on the back there, and there's this swipe that I was trying to clean off, like just by rubbing with my hand. Hopefully that doesn't cause issues. I mean, from a certain angle, it looks like just it's not a scratch. You can't see it when you look at it from an angle. So it's just a finish thing. It might even be leftover flux from that. Okay, under-soldered, under-soldered, over-soldered, over-soldered. Given the choice, I'd probably do all that myself. But most people want what I'm experiencing right now, which is mostly just snap it together. And that's when people say they build a keyboard, this what you're experiencing so far is what people like mean, right? I'm in the days of you're soldering it, like pre-custom PCB, but if you had them, you'd be soldering that IC on yourself. And if you're me, who doesn't want to pay for hot air, because there were not cheap Chinese hot air options in, you know, say 2010. At least I don't know of them. You would be doing it with not hot air. And there are methods for doing that. A lot of people now would be like, "Oh, you're crazy! You can just buy a hot air station." Yeah, these are just something done back then. Oh, this one got stuck. Careful with these. They will allow you to assemble them like incorrectly. Or like not complete. I think I need the 7X. Let's take a peek. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, these remind me of Co-Star stabs. But the Co-Star would have another little bump right in the middle, basically to clear the top. Here we got this singular Cherry Max switch on a Co-Star stab because they're not PCB mount, meaning they're under the plate with PCB mount stabs, and they snap into the PCB. That's why you need screw-ins, right? So normally Cherry Max are south-facing, right? And so are the stabs, right? But imagine this is up higher. You'll actually run into the switch. So what they do is they actually bow them up and over so that when it pivots back this way, it doesn't hit parts of the switch. Or, because a lot of Co-Stars were actually reverse mounted, you wouldn't, because they wanted the RGB, or not RGB LED, back then it would just be an LED towards the top. There's also a reason why most LEDs were blue once we had them. They're much brighter. And they're closer to 5 volt. That's coming to this board from USB. The other way that you could do it is run dual, and that is how we designed the docks, which is like well, it was like, there were a bunch of docks keyboards, but the docks I'm talking about is the predecessor to the GH60, was we actually wired up, because RGB or red LEDs have different voltages that they could be at. The most common one though is about 2.2 volts, if I recall correctly, which meant you could run 2 of them in, I'm forgetting if it's parallel or series, one of the two, off of the 5 volts, which made wiring them much, you basically didn't have to wire everything to each switch. You could go switch, 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 And you didn't always even need to do it, like you wouldn't go this such, they might go rows, right? I also thought, I'm trying to remember if the orange amber ones were in the same voltage range or not. But I didn't really want blue or white or green, which are up in the higher voltage ranges generally. The reason being is it's just way too freaking bright, way too hard on the eyes. And other people in the community agree with me. Because the other thing that you would have to do back then is you're like, oh, but like if it's setting 5 volts out and all those are under 5 volts, you just adjust it. Yeah, you didn't control it via a controller, so you, for each LED you put in, you would have to put in a resistor. If you wanted different color LEDs, you would have to yourself size the resistors. That's a thing you would do. And get this side good, I guess. No, I did. All right. These little guys here. Zoom on in. These little guys here are I might even look up how to use them, because I know, pretty sure these black ones are the ones, these black squares are the ones that go under, or like you stick them to the board and you go, right? These ones might go on the other side. I am not 100% sure. Let me look it up. Or it may also be on the type of the board you have, the type of the PCB you have. On their demo, they're just slapping these in and screwing them in. On the OG cherry ones, they're just plastic clips. Imagine, for those of you that build PCs, imagine an Intel stock cooler. That's basically how they work. Here, so see in there. Oh, so they have little square ones there. I saw them. See, they already have them pre-installed. Ha ha. But yeah, they just slip those in, slip them in, screw them in from this side, right? Like I said, normally on the OG ones that would be a snap. Once they started, they started wanting to put the spacers like film or rubber bands or tape under the stabilizers to kind of take up that space, you could no longer rely regularly, because basically the stabs would pop off because there's pressure now, because there's something under them. When if they just had the snap, that's why we started screwing them in. Some screw-in ones are actually not hook and screw-in; they're just screw-in. So it looks like then we need these standoffs. What I need though is this kit right here, the Type X YIKB screw-in stabilizers here. So watch this video. Yep, so you get that and that. That's what we have. Right. Where do they go? That's what I want to know. Okay, yep. This is what I was just... And yeah, I should probably lube them, but yeah, we're not going to lube the rest of the board, so I don't have to get in and out. Look at that. That's exactly what I did. Woo! Okay, yep, we got those. You peel them. I got to get a Tweezy boy. I can get a Tweezy boy. Or a Tweezy guy, Tweezy gal. Backside. See, I was right. I kind of actually know what I'm doing. Oh. No idea what stutter hit my PC just there. Haha, I just didn't know that the backside was those round guys. I think if you go back, though, you'll hear I made an assumption that it was. Based on the fact that there are only so many options that can occur. Ha 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 ha. We do need a tweezy guy, though. I don't have a fancy tweezy like they do. I just have two of these, which are actually for some form of crafting. This is the new guy. It says new in there. How I wrote that in there? Great question. Basically, I keep the new one for non-sticky. No sticky. And then this is the one where it's even had sticky on it enough where you had to, like, sand it off. So, what do they use this for? It's for, like, picking stuff out of stuff. They're very, very pointy. And the hearts on them are like a great place to get a little bit more, rather than having this little, they give you a little bit more. This is the Sonic kind of stuff, because the only other way to get this back in the day would have been maybe medical stuff or very high-end electronics stuff. And I can tell you, most of us in the community back then weren't making the kind of money. Some of them were. I mean, I built a keyboard for somebody at Pixar, and I'm trying to remember, like, there were some people in the community that had some money, even back when I was in it, or when I was in it, when I was, like, active in it, I wouldn't even say the early days. Like, now for a lot of you, this would be the early days, but back when I was in it, I felt took me 2 years, I think, of active interaction to not feel like the noob and actually feel like I was contributing. So don't feel too bad. And I probably had 2 years, maybe not 2 years, at least 8 months, though, of, like, just lurking. I don't know, that used to be a thing that I feel like people did more often, was just, there's a giant arm in my way at the moment. So this is precarious. Sorry, I need to get this much closer. I'm just going to do this by hand. Dang, just can't be getting that off. Because it's like a textured fabric material rather than... Like, think about how proper, not duct tape, but duct tape, and not the silver aluminum duct tape. The duct tape that's bad for duct work. Not like bad for it, it's just bad at doing it. Crap. That sort of texture is what we got here. Still no way. I should bend it the other way. Apologies. Okay, me and stickers, for those wondering, don't get along. So, having to line up two holes blindly is kind of annoying. Okay, I got that one much better. Just be glad with this board. You got like half as many stabs as you need, or as you could have. Kind of reminds me actually even more of the texture of Gorilla Tape. But much thinner, obviously. But like the outer layer of Gorilla, like the black color layer of Gorilla Tape. Go to the other side now. Oh, these are much stiffer. Interesting. Yeah, this upgrade was like, the individual pieces are 80 cents a piece. So can't imagine it was much. It seems like they've added up, like I said, I've done different mods for the stabs where you cut off the wings underneath. Almost all of the aftermarket ones cut. Okay, what I mean by that is down here, there used to be, under here, there used to be like two little wings that would pop up because these don't sit flush, right, all the way down. And those would kind of dampen you pushing it all the way down. They would contribute to the noise, though, and and make the stabilized keys feel a little bit squishier, I think was the thought. So people killed those ages ago. Even back when I was still in the... You used to cut them off yourself, but then once companies could start making these aftermarket without worrying about patents and that sort of stuff, they just didn't put them on in the first place because it was a much harder piece to manufacture as well. Just these little, you simplify the mold basically by not having there. But Cherry thought, they probably had good reason, but to the enthusiasts, and I'll agree, like, field did change. You're just kind of doing it a different way, There's our little baby screws. What kind of little baby screws are they? The rest of this board is Torx. I wonder if these are Torx or not. Oh, there's even little spacers. Little plastic washers. Okay, there, Philip. There, Monsieur Philippe. We probably need a Philippe number 1. We got one of those over here. Had one. This is also a Philippe number 1. A little ergonomic. I was hoping for a precision number 1, but must have typed that for something else. So generally the bigger hole is for the hooks, from what I recall. Yep, bigger holes for the hooks. Smaller hole. That's for the screw-in part. Let's see if Philippe number 1 is small enough. It is. That was correct. Uh, 2x. So took a bit of force, but you gotta force the hooky guy in, right? Is the hooky guy supposed to go over? So otherwise it just slid this. I have to look at. Jeez. I gotta check that video on these stabilizers again. The reason being is the hook just wants to slide that circular part over. My monitors keep turning off. It's not playing anything. And I have to turn back on, reassign where everything is. Okay, yep, we did that. Let's see what it looks like. No, I barely give you any, you're like, oh, yeah, you just... And you may or may not see what I mean. But this guy basically just slid that down. I don't think there's any way it hooks on there. Like, maybe it's supposed to. But with the thickness of the PCB plus I don't see that fitting under. Like, it barely makes it over the PCB. Like, yeah, as soon as you do this, it, even with my hand trying to hold it, it pushes it right out of the way. You see that? This is where I would like my smaller screwdriver a little better. Same size tip, mind you. Just visit, or always run it back. Yeah, I guess in this case, I guess if you had a thinner PCB, I could understand what those do. In this case, it just pushes it right out of the way. Happened again. Could be worse. Yeah. Maybe it's pulling it a little bit that way, putting some tension on, but what I really think that's for is for the PCBs that are a bit thinner. Whereas with the sticker that we put on top, plus the thickness, like this is a pretty thick PCB. Just not happening. But yeah, the hooky guy goes through the big hole. The first time you do it, it'll probably just, because it goes at the exact right angle, right? Jesus, these things are so bloody tiny. Not where I normally would want to work. Scoot that a little bit more this way. You don't need a lot of torque, and you actually can't put a lot of torque on it. Tweezy, oh, and Tweezy Boy was coming in handy, and it dropped it, and it dropped it again. I think it's sticking to some of the sticky residue on that Tweezy Boy. I should probably Tweezy Guy or Tweezy Gal or Tweezy Dude, you know, little pointy jabby thing that picks things up. Hey, man. You get your butts in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, these little plastic washers kind of get stuck on the inside of this plastic bag. So we have to get something to fish them out. It's actually easier to keep the washer flat on your finger. Your finger's got a bit of give. You kind of push the screw through. Not that many people will be. I mean, like there's like 4 of these kits left or something. So any of you following this to build this, hey, you're me with my normal projects where I buy them and then I take 5 years to get around to doing it. All right. Give all these a little tweak. Okay. Tweak. Tweak. You'll feel the screwdrivers start to slip if you make it too tight. It wants to cam out because it's Philippe. Phillips. This back marks up really easily. Just noticing. There's the black on the PCB, whatever they used. Next, they want... I gotta put all this back because we're done with the stabilizers and there's plenty of these left. There's enough for another partial keyboard, another keyboard, or another partial keyboard. If you're doing a 40% or 60% like I've done in the past, you only need a spacebar, and there's a 6x spacebar in there, so potentially still usable. I don't know if these are really doing much in this particular build, personally. Because, as I showed you, it doesn't like hook around them like I think they're intending on. Just slides them out of the way. But we got them there. Yeah. Just in case, I guess. This pack. This phone goes in there. They really like, they as in China, really likes their single-use magnetic latch. Like, why even waste magnets on that? Their single-use magnetic latch, single-use boxes. Here. I think we're gonna need a smaller. There's a Torx. But these obviously need to get put on by something. So we've got some tiny ass countersunk torques, some tiny ass countersunk torques, and some flat Phillips. Guessing these. I might be wrong. There's also more Phillips. Thinking those two. Just because of how that's not countersunk. We'll find out when I watch the video. They just show okay. They put everything in and then they show you which screws. That makes no sense, people, because you literally just put them in. It would make more logical sense to first show you what you're putting in, then tell you what you're like here, use these screws and put this in, right? Like that makes more sense if you ask me. They are using these button top guys. And I have a feeling I'm gonna need something smaller than this big chomper I got over here. Oh my, Phillips one does fit perfectly, mind you. All right. They were showing starting them by hand. I'm guessing dropping the screw in. Easier said than freaking done. Then taking this and just putting your finger over it. Jeez, there's not much thread for that. I got it though. And rinse and repeat. I should have made this a hex, not a circle. Then you could actually use a tool to get some grip on it. You might need that second bag of screws. I didn't realize they had so many freaking standoffs. Jeez. It's gonna be a lot of screws. Oh, well, that stops doing something again. Ramping up. This is the sort of thing where, I mean, if they're willing to solder on RGB LEDs to the bottom of this, right? I would almost kind of be like, well, why? Because they have standoffs that they solder on, right? You gotta wonder how much more expensive that would be. Like, were they like built into the PCB? Maybe this is some awfully specific or something. This seems, you know, not impossible. I'm obviously doing it. It just seems extra fiddly that if you've already done all this like SMD work, I really wonder how much it would be more to, because they put them on like they do anything else when they solder these, right? You solder these boards. Now this board, I will admit, because it's an EC board and is capacitive, there is barely any like there'd be way more contacts than a normal PCB on here, or there would be way more on a normal keyboard PCB than there is on here right now. Once I get all these on here, even with stuff only on one side, I should be able to go along with the screwdriver and just give them a little tweak. Because they're already tight, they should bite. This is gonna suck. See where it is? Stabilizer's right in the way. Yeah, if those were hex, you could put like a hex driver on one side and make your life a ton easier. This sitting position is getting my back too, because I can't get under this cart like I would at a workbench or desk. Eventually, I want to build my own PC building carts, which is effectively what I'm using these for. And make it big enough to even have like a Define R7 or my Case Labs case on top of it. But then they'll make the legs so you can put your fucking legs under it and not hit your knees too. Also, it'd be better if it was about yay taller. Because when you're working on this little stuff, you actually want it closer. If you know, it's like dinner tables are taller than desks. Also, like crafting is generally different than crafting, or like this small work is generally different than like typing or writing. You know, those you want your arms at your elbows at like a 90-degree or even more. You know, like you don't want a cute. However, for like this fiddly stuff, it would just be easier if it was closer to your face. You just have to open up a new pack of screws. I mean, not just, there's plenty of these. There's a fuck ton of these standoffs, I tell you what. Yeesh. Yeah, this is right up against a standoff. Gonna have to get it started with the plier. And then use a screwdriver to get in from the other side. There we go. Once again, this is easy peasy work compared to having to hand bend and solder like every diode for a phantom PCB. It is fiddly. I feel like they could make it like if you're out to make a kit like this. I really feel like they could make it less fiddly, you know, but could be way worse, I guess, right? Got a little bit of a system going here. Stick it on the screwdriver, put it in the hole, grab a little standoff dude that runs away from you. Stick it on. I'm assuming because these are double-sided that at some point we're screwing something in from the other side. You know, like the standoffs are, they're threaded on both sides. I will say, like, we are grabbing barely a thread. Feels like it's gotten tight, but you wouldn't want your lug nuts on your car hanging on by this much threads, literally. You give you one extra standoff, they give you a bunch of extra screws. Keep that in mind. My one extra standoff has like a weird torque screw stuck in it, so I just kind of left that one vibing. We'll see, maybe it's meant for a specific spot or a specific thing or a specific something. Let's take a peek at the guide now. Yep, connect and disconnect and reconnect the monitor, please. Thank you. Okay, Fool Me Dude goes next. So what we're gonna do to make sure all these are relative, they don't have to be like super duper tight, right? I'm just gonna put my finger here and we're just gonna, and they'll start spinning. And there ain't nothing I can do but I'm spinning because you can't hold them. I mean, I could grab like a Cobra, like a Nipix Cobra or something to really. They also call these brass, but they're definitely nickel plated. So your guess is as good as mine if they're actually brass. If you know what I mean. Some of these have like you know, like a quarter or a half a turn in them still before they start kind of slipping. If you hear my tummy on the microphone, that is because tummy hungry. It is 20 to 4. And normally at 2, 3 at the latest is when I eat my supper. Some of these definitely tighten up better than others. I don't particularly know why. There's some big RGB LEDs. It's probably because it's designed for underglow, not top glow, so they need enough LED to bounce off, like go through that translucent. I wonder if you didn't have the translucent, you had the metal one. What would happen to the RGB? Just get hot then? Oh, interesting. Just thought about that. All right. So supposedly, now we do the foam. The first foam. This foam. Getting a little lightheaded. Getting a little lightheaded. Push through. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Should have a snacky snack before starting this mess. That would have been planning and smart. No. We do the unboxing and the building back to back to back. Okay, so there's a keyboard. Okay, there's a spacebar foam in here. That's the spacebar foam. This is the case foam. I can guarantee you that. I am very surprised they even bothered with that. I'm sure it was there from the cutout, you know, but it's a lot of kind of pointless because it's so flimsy. Okay, so countersink go on the top. Okay, so I wanted the red PCB. I thought it would, or not PCB, the red plate. I thought it would look really good. No dice, and they were out of the brass. I think it was like a brass plate. And I would have, like, you could have ordered the brass plate, but you would have had to wait. And finally decided to order this damn thing after one of you guys reached out via Discord and told me to. And one of those days I was finally like, you know what? This thing's limited. Let's see if there's a color I like. Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, I don't have, like, the part of this is like the big selection of them. They don't currently have that anymore. You know. Then, like, last Friday I said, fuck it. And ordered. Or maybe not last Friday. 2 weekends ago Friday. Always run it backwards, then run it forwards. I can tell you from building a whack ton of these keyboards, start with your corners, then do your middle, do crisscross applesauce, kind of like you would your tires on your lug nuts, lug bolts on your car. You do not want to just start in one corner and work across, or start here and go, especially up, down, and then work that way. The plate will not be flat. And the plate is generally stiffer than the PCB. I don't know about in this case, but definitely in Cherry MX's, and it will bend the PCB to its will. Because it has more strength to it than the PCB does. Now this aluminum plate is very thin, and that PCB is very thick. So I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But I would have liked to get this in the red plate. Reminded me of my K-Mac Mini. Let's just pick this one next. Even this has scratches. Like, they're on their website too. They have like, oh, here are acceptable levels of finish, probably because people were being little bitches and complaining that it wasn't perfect. When this is cheap. This thing was like, I don't know, like $100 something or something, like, which is cheap for a fully custom. Granted, it doesn't have switches, but the kit seemed like, oh, holy crap, that is like affordable. What the heck? Well, those two are stuck together. The paint and our finish stuck those two together. You know, now that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like in here, then you start filling in the like kind of like random in between guys before you. Here's another pair that are stuck together. That's freaking weird. You just pick some before filling it out. Pretty soon it won't matter because I can already tell by putting these in. It's starting to stiffen up. You need to open that second bag. I can't wait for that crochet hook. That's got to be something about the domes. Or it's that like weird squiggly USB guy. Because you have to like feed it back through something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the fucking crochet hook's for. Just run it backwards. You'll hear a little pop. There you go. And screw it in. These are very tiny screws. You do not need to go super duper tight. There's another set of... Okay, so it's a good thing they gave you these countersunk screws. It is very good that they gave you a ton of extras because they get stuck together. They're not very good quality. Okay, so and I think it's the paint or whatever because they're not anodized. So like the black paint that's on them is sticking them together. So now you got to start looking. Screw. Good. Screw. All right. Then you do the same thing. Same thing when you do switches and keycaps. You just, or like LEDs if you put them in, or diodes. You always, yes. No, okay, is it supposed to be there? Nope. Okay, good. Do a lot of this shit at work too, but digitally. And no, I don't go insane. Wah ha 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 ha. As far as you know. I'm actually quite good at it. Also, when you like work like that, you hate, just fucking embrace it. The sooner you do it, the quicker it gets done. I don't know, just pour through it. You can do it. I believe in you. And sometimes you have to do that. I would much rather develop a way to deal with stuff like that, right? You know, like a process, especially an automation, a script. But sometimes, especially if you need fast turnaround and you're like, no, that specific thing has to be done like now. You don't have time to develop that. You just gotta fucking buck up and do it. All right. Look at that. Yeah. All right. Yep. Sound quicker than the guy in the video. Okay. EC by AEBoards. I didn't get those. I got the EC by these guys here. The Naevies. Instead of by AEBoards because the other ones were out. Shoe. Since we're done with all these screws, we're gonna pick them up with the magnetic screwdriver, put them in the little baggie. Just in case we lose some in the future, we got some. They're not sorted anymore, but hopefully I get to that point. I'm questioning my life choices. Now, Squares said these were finicky. The person who recommended me this board said it was like fucking simple as, and I would agree. And I know Squares, he hasn't done this himself, so I can't blame him. But whoever, like, they're like, oh, you got to use like a special tool and blah, blah, blah. No. Get good. That's what you got to do. See these little clippy guys? Clippy guys match up with the clippy guy holes. And you just snap her in. Press her a couple times. Looks like a top ray. Feels like a top ray. And no, I know you saw the linear domes. I prefer tactile. So I'm going that route. Why did I pick up the linear domes? Is I don't know how long this shit will be around, to be truthful. So I don't know if it gets to the point where I do want to try linear domes, will they still exist? You know? Oh, there's no foam up in that corner. That's kind of weird. No, there's not foam in the thing. Same thing with the switchy guys. This is actually just as, if not more important, is start on the outer edges, then do the like some of the inner, like your space bar, your then maybe go in between, kind of like here, kind of like over here. I start filling in more. It's not looking like a stepped caps lock to me. Like here. Some here. Some more up top. Yeah, just kind of start randomly filling it in. And here there is a rubber dome. So that's part of the reason why I'm also not taking this. I would have to take that spring out, which I think is attached to the magnet that's under there. And then swap that dome out. And we'll see if I ever do that. But those domes were, kind of like I'm already placing the order. Might as well get them in there just in case I do want to do it. I can. Realistically, once you're kind of like in this state, pick a place. Just kind of it really doesn't matter. I would still try to keep it like random if you can. You know what I mean? Especially when you're soldering it down and the switches are the thing that are holding the plate to the PCB. You do not want to just not do it randomly because it will not sit flat and flush. You'll have like a curve or a bend to it. You just kind of want to like evenly distribute these. And we're out of those. I mean, if you pick one up and it feels like it's falling apart or something, like double check it, you know. But when we're done inserting all these, I'm going to go through all of them and just make sure they're fully seated. And they all, like that one felt like it hooked a little bit. That's seeing the foam in there a little bit. Just kind of. Oh, that one came out of the box sideways. Definitely the case that some of these go in easier than others. I need a Q-tip or something. Scrape that. Not Q-tips. BRB. Probably running what I'm looking at here. Right there. Just gonna get some alcohol on this. Is that a scratch that happened? No. Usually I do one side with alcohol, the other side without, because then you can wipe it away. All good. Yeah, we got cats around here that really like Q-tips, so you gotta hide them. Now at this point, I have enough in here that you can just fill it in like systematically, because at this point it's starting to feel like snapped together and sturdy. You know, like no single switch is gonna probably mess with any other single switch. These look and feel very similar to Topper. I don't know. Like, I'll have to type on them tomorrow. Also, I don't know if these are trying to on the bottoms, on the upper stroke of a silent is where the, like on the, basically inside the top of this square, when it pops up, is where the like foam O-ring is, effectively. If you go through them all like this, you will notice if one is off. And say with Cherry Max, might just be a switch. So they give me plus or minus 10% or whatever, which is like a couple grams. All right, that was well consistent. Let's box this back up. Salt the video. I really think that like a red or a, I really wanted the, was a brass plate. Wasn't waiting for it, though. That'll be fine. You won't see it because of the keycaps, really. But a little bit more flaring ain't bad either, you know? Okay. They want keycaps next. I think they're nutty. Keycaps don't go on this. Keycaps go on finished keyboard. So we're going to put this guy off to the side. Grab this gal here. And these are what are next. All right, I'm going to say that those screws are for this guy. Let's just get that in right away. That slots in real nice. Yep. This is probably a Phillips 2, not a Phillips 1. It's a Torx. Why would you use Torx? Why would you use Phillips everywhere else on the case? And then use Torx. T15? It's a bit small for a T15. Just too small. It's probably a T10 then. Which is not something I have in my LTT screwdriver. So there's a T25, T20, T15, T10. Bingo. You're like, are you just using the bit directly? Sure, I am. I'll put it in a bit handle in a second here. Dude, stubby LTT. Everybody buys the big LTT screwdriver when the real goat is the stubby. Stubby? The real goat is the stubby. All right. Just put that up there for now. The other thing we're going to do over here is put on our little feetsies. Might as well. You guys in this video will see the finished one. It probably won't be programmed, though. Hopefully, we'll actually do a follow-up video to this. I can show it off to Squeers and see what he thinks. Because he is very, like, they actually have like a full-size EC switchboard now. as well as like he'd be interested in a Tankulus or 65. I don't know if it's 65 technically, like a smaller percent version. And here, just take this guy and just tweak. I wouldn't go too hard because this is just, you can, that's definitely metal. Case is very resonant. I can see why. I think I mentioned this when I was unboxing it, but I can see why they need all this foam. And I don't know, like this is technically a gasket mount. I don't want to say it's a chintzy gasket mount, but it's which way do these go? Like, let's use my pliers instead. So is there a little pin in there? Yeah, so you need to put the pin in first and then squish it. Yes. Okay, so that's the better way to do it, is literally, there's a little peg, right? And there's a little top piece that's got to go under. But you are better off putting it down and squishing it in like that than you are. I tried hooking the top in first, and let's just say that didn't go well. Really? I was saying that before, but these ones over here don't want to go where they're supposed to. With the nub first and kind of push them in. They really want to do the upper. And then they like stick out kind of weird. I think they're supposed to stick out a little bit. Yeah, they're fine with them too. They're very much doing what I did over here, where you put it down first to get the nubbin in the hole, and then kind of shove the top in. which I think seems to work like shit. Except on those other two. It could also be like the different durometer. Like these are slightly inconsistently, like durometer wise. Alright. You got these puppies in. Oh, one more. Alright. So these can go back in their little accessory home because there's 2 extras, it looks like. Alright, let's figure out what's next. Okay, the weird cable. Okay, I'm still have yet to see why I have a crochet hook. Okay, just pop it in. Oh, it's just friction fit. They don't even screw it in from this side. It's just friction fit the top. Well, damn. So what are all these screws for then? King Artie, were you having a good scratch? Keep it up, dude. Like these guys too. What are these for? They're like screw things. Here, maybe? They don't show putting the weight in. It's there. It's already assembled. Yeah, feet. Okay. Yeah. All these different plates. They got purple, blue. Or sorry, purple, red, silver. Purple one I didn't really need to go well with my keyboard. Okay. Put the standoffs in. These nicer ones. Yeah. Put the foamy in. Put the foamy in around the thing. Screw the plate on. Dunzo. They're saying put the switches in. Use keycap puller simultaneously, get both sides. It's not a keycap puller, it's a switch puller. X-ray. Magnetic daughter board, cool, yeah. You put that in, you put the little foamy guy on. You just shove it in. Okay, so I lack, maybe some of you can help me out with this. I lack what that is. I don't know. Also, what this screws in with. I don't get what all these silver torques are for. I'm guessing they're with the case. Because like for this guy, they show black screws for that, but I'm thinking they're these because the Torx ones are the case screws for whatever reason. I still don't know what those little. They look like stick-on like Phillips head. Here, they're like cut out like a Phillips head. No fucking clue. An 8, maybe? Nope. 6 then, probably. 7's barely used. Hoping this is the right one. We'll see pretty quick, because if it's not... Yeah, same thing here, because it looks like there's a little bit of adjustment to this. Like, otherwise, I don't know what this could possibly be for. These 1, 2, 3, 8 of them? 8 screws? Like, I thought it would screw in someplace, but it doesn't. So I'm even more glad I bought a case, because literally it just presses. I'm coming from the era when, like, if shit wasn't bolted down, that wasn't a properly built key. Like, bolt it, solder it. Some of these places would weld it, or you know, if it wasn't firmly sandwiched between stuff, you know. And I don't think those would go in if they weren't the right thread, right? Yeah, that's that. All right, so that's it supposedly. Interesting. You gotta get it under the little rubbery guys. Hopefully this is what takes away the resonance that I was getting. I can almost guarantee this is gonna come off at some point, because I'm gonna get pissed at it, because it's gonna fall into this area here, because there's nothing actively retaining it, and I'll just chop it off because it's gonna fall in that hole, because there's probably nothing on the PCB that prevents it. Yeah, see, nothing on the PCB that prevents it from falling off. That's why they also didn't include that chunk. See right there? Because it would have been too thin. Somebody knew something there that they didn't know here. If you get my drift. Hey, what did you just take? Hey, kitten, this is exactly where you shouldn't be. Holy shit. Almost lost whatever. Here, she had the sample cherry mix switch. Jesus. Can't have anything nice around here. Yeah, I really don't know what these are for. They're not pictured in the pudding. Oh, I lie. Are these for the standoffs? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These may stick here because they go over the cross. Yeah, I literally don't see it pictured. We can always deal with that later. Comes with a barebone hook. I have to imagine the barebone hook is the crochet hook. Circle for stabilizers. Yeah, I don't get the barebone hook thing. Does somebody have another video of? You got the sound test, they got the mini. I don't care about the sound test. Introduction. This is just the EC, not the... Oh, I think I get what the hook's for now. See, I get it out. You probably all think I'm insane, but crochet hook goes in here. And I bet, yes, you could lift it out that way. That's what this is for. I find it super odd that they would use a crochet hook. Also, I don't know if you want to do one side and the other, but yeah, it's to pop it off the gasket. It's got some give, nowhere near as much as that Q60 that I had on here earlier. But that's what that's for. I'm making an executive decision that this is for, there's 6 of them. It's for the, here, you gotta peel the back. There, it looks like there might be 8, 7. Oh, no, I was right, 6 the first time. Okay, so what these are probably for is for this, would be my guess. Because, here, like that. That's my guess. Now, why I need to do that, don't know. But that is my, probably quiet down stabs or something. Oh my god, why can't I can't get that off now. The other thing could be that it's related to the fact that these are circles. That's a circle, it goes in the circle. I think it's more for the bottom side of the keycaps, which are generally circles. I want to see if they have that on like KBDfans or something, which is like foam circle. Okay, those are stabilizer stem. Oh, we are good. It's almost like I've done this shit before. Before this was a thing that you could buy a product for. Look at that. Stabilizer switches stem foam. And then when you put it over it, bada bing, bada boom. And you want to know why I especially... Oh, they got foam stickers. This came with one because of the aftermarket set I got. But yeah, knew it. And, you know, Barebones hook. Yes, I'm 99% sure that that's what this is for. It's because it's tapered. Look, it's neck down right there. So it's able to go in here and lift up. And if you put it all the way down, that hook is actually under there. Vindicated. Prof's not going insane. And no, the video definitely does not include either of those things. Whereas a good guide would have. It would have had everything laid out. And, you know, with like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there would have been a key that goes 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, maybe with each kit, like they're like, oh, you're gonna get a case kit that comes with these screws. Like, they didn't tell you which screws. Actually, the ones in the pictures that they show are not the silver ones, but they're black in there. And you're like, wow, why does that matter? Well, because they're completely fucking different. I just knew that they were for the case because the case came with those Torx screwdrivers that are junk, and the all the PCB stuff, which is separate, like effectively it's a completely separate kit. You know, that way they can ship you, here is the base kit of what you need, and here's your case, like whatever case you decided to buy. Right? There we go. One thing that I'm fine with this, and I'm sure it'll break in, but the first time you stick them on, they actually stick the stabilizer down because the circle is larger than the stem, right? But you wouldn't want it sticky up because that would stick to your keycap, right? So something to keep in mind, because the first time it has to unstick itself, and it may stick down a couple times, but I'm sure the parts that are not covered by plastic all the time, like on the standoff, will very quickly become not that sticky. We actually found with the switch stickers for Cherry MX back in the day that you actually want them less sticky, because realistically what holds them there is not the stickiness, it's the shell clamping there. So you only wanted them, they actually used just vinyl with a very light tack back. Originally came out of Korea for those, and then somebody got one of the templates so they could use a cry cut. You know, it was back in like maybe Gen 2 cry cut era. Fairly new. Or cricket, however you want to. People say it different ways. I just thought it was cricket because they're green and their logo and stuff. Then I heard people call it cry cut, and I'm like, oh yeah, it could be that too, you know, because it is cutting things. I don't know what the cry part is. I think they had a double meaning here. You know, they named it cricket because it's cute and it's a home gamer. I mean, they have non-home gamer level tools now. They have like prosumer level stuff. Oh yeah, I can be bummed now. I've ranted and raved about how X-Acto isn't U.S. owned anymore, and as soon as they took the blades out of the U.S., manufactured from China, and they also changed the hole for how it fits into everything. And why I can be extra grumpy is I was part of the two communities, and one of the people that tested them, they're really nice titanium blades. Still by far even better than the high carbon steel ones. They are still nicer, if you ask me, blade wise, but they don't fit any of my frickin' tools because they changed the hole size. They made it smaller. It's like people have had these since like before I was born. My dad has a kit, and now the blades don't fit. Dumbest shit ever. That's just to make you buy new X-Acto handles, and like I've seen people with like routers that use like X-Acto routers and stuff like that, and that is why was it Exact Blades, I think it is, makes them with the old hole size, because it's not patented anymore either. That's probably what they really didn't like. All right, so this is now assembled. I thought they were insane for putting keycaps on it before finishing its assembly, personally. Maybe you're with them. I am, however, doing it after. Normally I would say, hey, you got to play the keyboard alphabet. But not today. Apparently, what a lot of people aren't liking is that it has to be a 7x spacebar, and they're used to a 6.25. So let's double check here. So that's what centered it on the board here. I can bet you that, yep, that's going to be an issue for me because I am very used to this layout. If I recall, that copies it. Maybe not to the same extent, but to get this same-sidedness, they used a big ol' 7x spacebar to make it look even. Oh, look at that. I already can tell those keycaps look amazing on this. There you go. You can see when it sticks down. That's the adhesive. I should note, this is something they didn't do, and I may have to get one because I think it's going to need it. See, that's delayed. I'm surprised they didn't include it. But spacebar on a top ray has an assist spring in the middle around the spacebar. Let's look up top ray spacebar assist spring. $12. There you go. Jesus. Unreal was one of the places that EC keyboard switch. What? Okay, yeah, it's like the domes. Has nobody thought of that? Maybe I will have to give Unreal Keyboards $12 for one. God damn, if I buy one, then I might buy two. But it also could be the adhesive, but no, like if you hit over here. See? We can't have that. I need to get one of those on order. If you hit it off center, especially right on top of stabilizer, it freaks out. Maybe Top Ray knew what they were doing, Paisley Marie. It's almost like that's why Cherry also put, if you had blacks, or if you had, if you had blues, they would put a green in the spacebar. And often the escape key, because back in the day, escape would actually close all your shit. This one's stuck down a little bit too, so maybe it'll get better with the, no, I gotta get that spring. Hack me. If anybody else is watching this video and has this issue, Let me know. I have a feeling you do, though. You may not know it. Don't really feel like taking apart one of my happy hacking keyboards to fish that spring out at the moment. The weird stuff's not in here. Why is this one ass backwards? Hold on. I must have put it back wrong. Nope. I didn't. They just have some backwards for whatever reason. That's definitely caps lock. This is short right shift. Here's enter. I feel like these are all upside down. Like that's backspace. Let's delete. Aha, it is. Yep, that one's stuck down too. It might just be those foamy guys. I'm gonna drop keycaps. Let me put the camera down, or camera up, I guess. Yeah, it sticks down. Fuck. I knew I was running into that when I should have left the paper on the back, but then it wouldn't stick to the stem. Catch 22, guys. Catch 22. No idea how easy or hard it is to pull keycaps on EC switches. Yep, that sticks down. Now let's find out if it's sticking down because of these foamy guys. Oh my god, they're on there too. You can see it's very sticky. And it's just overhanging things, just enough, basically, just enough. They don't have enough. It's fine without it. It is so much quieter though. Do I put them sticky side up for the keycap then? Like here, that just popped back up. Okay, keycap up. Let's give that a shot. All right, let's do the space bar next. I think I did these the wrong way. I'm like, oh, obviously you want to stick them to the stem so they wouldn't fall off. But then the stem sticks to the housing of the stabilizer. Whereas these are circles, right? Makes some sense that you actually have them sticky side up. And it's kind of annoying that they stick to your keycap, but the noise difference is definitely an improvement. I don't know that all keycap sets would be happy with these. But they did ship them with it, so. Yeah, it doesn't stick down anymore. You want them sticky side up. And yes, they'll stick to your keycaps. But that's why they sell them in kits of many. Would be my guess. Yeah, I can even tell on the ones over here. They are sticking the stem to the housing basically. Which is not what you want. You hear it there. So I would put sticky side up. Have them stick to your keycaps. Hey, then your keycaps will always have them on, basically. Even if you change them out or change what board they're on. This board, I mean, unless they wear out or something, that'll probably never happen. All right, sticky side up. I would still probably get a top rate. There's a reason why they have a assist spring for the spacebar. That's all I'll say. So, we now need backspace or delete. Probably delete. Normally it's delete, like backslide, like this guy, right? I am not gonna go that route because these are for print screen. Yeah, we gotta use the delete button. That's classic Happy Hacking keyboard. Oh, sorry. No. I'm dumb. You're dumb. Yes, that is delete. I need a backspace, which is this one. Yeah, normally tilde is over. Tilde's here. I want that to be delete. We need a... Oh, that's this guy. I'm dumb. This guy goes here. That's delete. And then this is print screen. I'm going to make that... That's like download, I guess. Kind of like print screen, right? Oh, that stuck to my finger and then disappeared. Launched itself. All right. So, yeah, we'll have no tilde. Because I don't use this for tilde either. That's just delete. That's print screen. That's tilde over here. Function. Print screen is backslash. Some people don't want that as print screen. Oh, in front of me now. Alright, so on my layout, backspace print screen function this is backslash, right? I know people who use my exact layout, except they need backslash more for programming. So they leave that as backslash and then function that as print screen. Normally function this is delete, and then that's tilde. I don't like that. I am more of a tilde is escape over here, but I like escape. So we're not gonna mess with that. That's supposed to be command. Yeah, well, I swapped that in option. So here, this is definitely the, oh gosh, we're running out of battery. Charger coming in hot. Let's pump you up with battery juice. So these are the 1.5 modifiers that you need to use with the 7X spacebar. I wasn't going to use these. So I was going to use other keys for that. And I don't use this as Windows. I use that as menu. I've often programmed that I might make. I need Alt. When do you Alt F4? Alt, there's a bunch of Alt things. Function F2, you know. So that's caps lock. We don't want caps lock. We want control. Control is this guy. Like these two are control. So we need that guy, but in caps lock line, which is right here. Dunzo. Okay. Now we should be able to fill out the rest of this as we please. All right. So yeah, this is going to have to be blue on the right, teal on the left. Generally, yes. So this is row 1. So modifiers and bottom typing row. That's row 2, that's row 3, that's row 4, and that's row 4. Just double checking that this kit is the same, because then I will go with that there, and then I will take red escape as it should be, pop that in there. There we go. Now the rest of this is just your normal keyboard. Often I will use function, either function control. Don't really like that because I navigate around a lot and I don't want to bump control. Otherwise, by default on a lot of keyboard, it's function tab for caps. Don't really like that because I navigate using tab as well often. So I often do function A, because it's next to it. Though, because the happy hacking keyboards do function tab for caps. I think mine's set that way. Let's find out. Tapey. Nope. Yeah, I have it as function A. That is what I prefer. It's right next to caps. You know, otherwise I like using tab. Like I might be navigating with arrows and tabbing and controlling. Like those are like how I use a computer and how I navigate. So you can use function control to go through, instead of skipping characters, when you hold control, you guys know when you hold shift, it highlights stuff, right? Well, if you hold control, it goes by entire words instead of just one letter or character at a time. I wonder if O-rings would help these, because I might O-ring them if they do. Get some clear, thin ones like the 0.2 millimeter, because these are cherry. You can't use the, I think I have probably some red, but I just don't think that would look good on this keyboard. You need the clear black. You want the 2 millimeter, is it EDPM or EPDM? I think it's EDPM. Little blemish on my H key. Not the end of the world. I think this looks so sick. I don't know about the colors yet. I almost think instead of this crazy thing, I want, like that's the correct profile, right? But I would almost prefer the up arrow, the kind of ghetto way of doing it. Yeah, you tell me. Yeah, I think it follows the theme more, even though all the rest of these are the correct profile. I much prefer it. Oh, well, you gotta be careful of that with these EC switches, because there ain't much holding them in. I tell you what. Do I want it up like that? Up, down, left, right. Yeah, I just don't like this freaking logo. Too much. They would have just left it clear. It would have been better if you ask me. It's angled now for better ergonomics. Not good for typing at all. Like if you want to hit it while typing, there's a reason why the like the rows try to angle towards your fingers, not away from them. Though for gaming, also a trick here: swap your spacebar around. I'm no longer used to that because you can't really do it on a happy hacking keyboard without issues. But if you're on Cherry Max, that is a hack. The other thing, Corsair actually did this with their gaming keyboards, is they swapped the entire bottom row, because when your hand sits here, you don't want to be on this sharp edge. You want to be on a flat face if you're, like sliding between these and gaming, So give that, but like, a, 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 easy way to make things more comfy is actually just flip the spacebar around. Looks kind of weird. You might see a bunch of people. I think Bad Sea Tech even did a video about it. Like we're talking about that being like that's an old school. Sometimes cherry spacebars you can't do it with a cherry profile. We'll try it here. See how it looks. Oh, that actually is way nicer. Does look a little bit weird. But this is actually angled towards your finger now. Look at that craziness. Now for the modifiers, I still like having the angle because you don't have something sitting on here like this. You actually have to roll your finger down and hit it. Now, if you're gaming often, you're actually going to be hitting, because your spacebar does so little unless you remap things a lot, right? That's why a lot of people play ESDF, because then your pinky can hit A instead of just this shit. That's why the OG was ESDF, right? Actually, the OOG was arrow keys. But that's why you might play ESDF, because you can actually hit A. You basically got a whole other row of things that your pinky can hit, you know, QA, AZ, you know, besides these guys. But even here, you're going to actually float between, if that wasn't Windows, maybe remap it on your board if you're gaming. You can hit that. You can hit Alt is a big one, right? That is also why Control, you can fold your hand and hit that if you really want to, or that's often why people play C for crouch. Because instead of going here and bending to hit that, it's easier to kind of claw up and play more like this and hit that there. Now, if you're that's probably why they play this way, and they just, then you can hit your Alt, your Shift. Yeah, that's why ortholinear for gaming. Get yourself a Razer Tartarus. Just remap it the same for every game. Then you don't really have to know, like, oh, T is that in this game. You know, if you're a CSGO pro, yeah, you use a full-size keyboard even though you don't need it. And you turn it at, like, 30 degrees or whatever. And you put the monitor about 3 inches from your eyes. This thing's turning out. Seriously, this is looking better than I imagined in my head. Function escape, often enter, but they didn't have a colored one. I saw what I was thinking of color wise when this came in was the R1, which is they're less bright, like it's this, but the undercolor instead of being white is red, teal, blue, yellow. So that's what I meant by more. Like I thought there were more options. I thought it came with both. Nope, it's just around one of this had a much more subtle color. Like basically the gray white under here. Well, it looks like white from this side, but it's gray. Is actually like the yellow or the blue. Instead of on this one, they made it the instead of the translucent gray on top, they made it the bright ass color. I really don't know why they told you to put keycaps on before snapping this guy. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But yes, you want those little, like, I think the stabs, I'll probably, when I do my other keyboards, buy some more of those stick-on stabulator things, but they need to go up towards the keycap. I may also still try O-rings on this. It feels like a top ray. It really freaking does. And the spacebar's fixed. And spacebar flipped is, at least on this keyboard with these cherry keycaps, because the cherry keycaps are more angled than an OEM. And it does, I don't think from this angle to you, that looks weird backwards, from here, you notice right away, but it's even not that substantially. Oh my gosh, this little handy guy. I don't know, maybe some of you wouldn't do the splash of color. You wouldn't do, like, I think without these down here, just the red and the yellow might look good, but we've got the little pops. They look like, you know, like your Xbox. Oh god, this feels so good. Somebody was saying that it didn't sound good, but they didn't use the like acrylic, or this is like a resin case. They used one of the aluminum ones, and I don't need another aluminum keyboard. The fact that, and the resonance is all taken out of this by that foam. They did a good job there, because you heard this resin case before this all went together. Like, or if I touched the screws, you could hear it go doing, doing. It was like a bell, like a gong, or a cymbal, or like like bells. Like, when I mean bell, I don't mean like bang 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 bang, or like, I mean like beep 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 beep. You know, like that kind of bells. Like, think about like little marimba, little xylophone, little, it's bells. They're like this big. That's what you learn on. Probably the size of this table, actually. Yeah, and make sure you have your crochet hook to take apart. I think that's hilarious. I gotta put these couple screws in here. Give you way extra than what you need to hold down that little board. Yeah, those little foamy guys really did quiet down the steps. I just had them on the wrong way, apparently, or maybe I had them on the right way, which I'm gonna say is the wrong way, if it was the right way. So, well, guys, it has been, guys and gals, and look, even the cats are tired. Okay, it has been 2 hours. 2 hours to put together a keyboard. That's nothing, especially with some half-assed directions that this has. It's real simple to do, though, so that's not the end of the world. I mean, I'm glad I didn't get the dandruff keycaps. That looks so good. Especially that like translucent with translucent case. Like I said, the only thing I would have liked to have done is had the red PCB. I think it would have popped, or maybe like a brass one or something like that. Give it a little bit more weight to it, you know. The screws are kind of chintzy. The standoffs are kind of chintzy. Like, I wish that standoffs were hex so you could get them on real good. The screws they should have a little bit more threading, but maybe they can't because the standoff can only be so tall. You know, I had to figure out some of the stuff with those like stick-on things. Maybe it's assumed that you know what those are now. I had never seen those before. I mean, I figured out, you were here with me. I figured out what they were for without even finding them, and then I found them. I'm like, oh, hey, look, I was correct. Some of the stuff didn't match the video. Now I get to try and program it. She's already after something, so I better close up these keycaps so I don't end up, you know, like that box looks like, except on my floor. Paisley Marie, what are you doing? You're up to no good, aren't you? And we got the granny cat over here, Gertrude, Ophelia. Just take a little nap. Come check out the follow-up video, probably with Squeers, you know, after work one day. We'll see what he thinks about it. And, I need to get this programmed up so I can take it to work. To the next one. Peace.